Hello, I am Silver Mont or Alex, and today we're going to be playing Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition. And with me today is a special guest.
Art Slave, also known as Nita.
Who some of you may know as natuprunk, not nasty punk.
Or not nature punk.
Nature punk. So we're going to try something a bit different today. We're going to do some live commentary of a game that I'm quite interested in, but I don't really want to do like a full let's play of it, or really bother with like a review, so this is a let's play mini review thing, you could say. It's Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition on PS4, and we're going to show a bit of, well, we'll show a bit of Nero, Dante and Vergil, and we won't bother with the other characters, Lady and Trish, because I've not really done much of their campaign yet. So I got Devil May Cry 4 like when it came out, and I've been a fan of Devil May Cry 4 since the first game. But you've never played any of them?
No, I'm somewhat familiar with the series,
Yeah.
and I do enjoy it, but it's not my genre, so I prefer watching, because my reaction speed is not up to par.
Yeah, these games aren't really for everyone there. Well, Devil May Cry pretty much invented the character action genre, as some people like to call it, and some people like to call it, well, all manner of different things, but character action's like a good word for the genre, I think. And Devil May Cry, I played all of them, like Devil May Cry 1, 2, 3 and 4. But we're not going to talk about DMC Devil May Cry, because that sucks. We're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, the black sheep.
Yeah. Oh, I guess, like, if you don't know, these games, like, the first one started off as a spin-off of Resident Evil. Well, the first game was meant to be Resident Evil 4, but then they kind of turned it into its own thing, which was like a more action-y kind of based game, and I don't know, it was really popular, and then Devil May Cry 2 came out and everyone kind of hated it. And then Devil May Cry 3 was back to form, everyone loved it. 3 is probably the best game in the series, but as like an overall package. But 4 has a lot of nice touches, shall we say. Like, it builds a lot upon what you could do in 3 without being too different.
I think the most interesting thing in 4 for me is the fact it has multiple areas instead of just being contained in a single castle or something. Yeah,
because of course in the earlier games, 2 was set in like a city and had somewhat variation, but for like 1 and 3 they were largely set in like one area, so you didn't get too much variety. And that's one nice thing in 4, but I think they were perhaps too, how should we put it, ambitious?
Yes, ambitious seems like the right word.
Yeah, because they tried to do too many areas, and then, if you don't know, for the first half of Devil May Cry 4 you're all going through new areas, and the second half is basically the first half of the game backwards. Which, it kinda sucks, but
yeah, it seems like a rushed decision, or like even cheap. Even though it's a different character, they could have at least given you some alternate paths.
Yeah, but, I mean, there's like a few tiny new areas, but for the most part you're just backtracking completely.
Yeah, now that you mention it, I didn't even notice them when you did your like playthrough for me.
Yeah, so I have like played through the whole story campaign with Yanata watching, so that she could see the story and all that stuff. And what did you think of the story in this one, in 4? As you hadn't seen like any of the other games, was it easy to follow?
It was relatively easy to follow, because I'm somewhat familiar with the storyline. Like, Sparta, Nero, blah blah blah. The demons are good or bad, and humans, blah blah.
Yeah.
And I did play a tiny bit of the first one, so I sort of know like where it started off.
Yeah.
And how the characters have developed from that.
Yeah. And you prefer Dante to Nero?
Yes, I found Nero to be a little too, well, emo, maybe?
Like generic anime character?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, his story was also kind of generic, like, oh, I have a lady friend who I like. Oh, she's getting kidnapped, and blah. I just couldn't... I could neither connect with him or appreciate him from, like, an outsider's perspective.
Yeah.
Whereas Dante is, like, he's just so over the top and, like, silly even, that you can sort of laugh at him, with him, and, like, appreciate his cool moments, because he's... I don't know. He's more entertaining.
Yeah, I think everyone prefers Dante as a character, because he's very likable and just fun, I guess.
Yeah.
Nero's not bad, I mean, especially when put in contrast with Dante, like Dante from DMC. Like, compared to him, I'd rather have Nero, but...
Yeah, like, Nero wasn't bad, like, he wasn't obnoxious.
Yeah.
He was sort of bland.
Yeah.
But I didn't hate him.
Yeah.
What little I know of Dante is just bad.
Yeah.
And sadly, I don't know about the female characters or Virgil yet, so I've not seen any material of them.
Yeah. I mean, Trish's story is mostly told in 1, Lady's is in 3, and Virgil's is also in 3. Because you can play as them in this game, but they don't really have much of a story. They have like an intro cutscene and an end cutscene, but everything in the middle is basically just playing through Nero and Dante's campaign. Dante, however you want to say it. But like, they can't even keep it consistent in this series, but who cares? It doesn't really matter that much, I suppose.
Yeah, and I know a tiny bit more about Trish, because I know her, like, main story points, but Lady is completely strange to me.
Yeah. And she's pretty different in this game than she was in 3.
From a character development perspective, or just different approach?
Well, in 3 she's a lot, I suppose, younger, because this is like, what, 10 years after 3 or something like that? And she's younger, she's not as, like, confident and stuff, and she's like antagonistic towards Dante at start, because he's a demon and she doesn't like demons. And of course you can drop kick. That's everything in this game. I'm not really that great at these games, especially when I'm talking, and especially when I've, like, not been playing them all that much.
You're still 100 times better than me. Although 100 times 0 is still 0.
I keep wanting to try and do this move, but the enemies just never let me do it. I don't even know why I bothered buying it. You need to be much better at timing than I am to do it. Here we go. Yeah, you can do... The main thing of this game isn't the challenge. Like, oh, it can be challenging, I suppose, but for the most part, you'll notice enemies do a lot of just standing around. And that's because the enemies in this game exist to make you look cool.
Yeah.
Like, that's why it has the style gauge and stuff, so... you could say it's like the complete opposite of Dark Souls, because Dark Souls is you're not meant to look cool, you're just meant to survive. You use whatever, like, busted up, dirty sword you can find to do that. But in this, it's, you know, it's style is everything in this game.
Yeah, what I've seen so far is it seems the most challenge comes from you trying to, like, be better yourself. Like,
yeah,
you bring the challenge, like trying to get a higher style and so on. Like, you could, like, just go through the game and get, like, C or D as a rank. But it's I think it works, because if you're not awesome at these games, like, I think I could beat these games, but I wouldn't enjoy it, because I'm a perfectionist. I would like to get, like, high scores.
Yeah.
But that's where the challenge lies, and you can challenge yourself. It's not forced upon you.
Yeah. We'll have a go at this boss, and then we'll swap over to Dante, I think. Dante.
Let me guess.
I don't want to watch the whole cutscene, but if you want to see the cutscenes, buy the game. But it's mostly just a time thing, so I don't want this video to be too long. Yeah, the one thing I do struggle in this game with Nero is, so much like Dark Souls, you have your combat roll, but the way you do it is by you have to lock onto an enemy and then go side to side. If you just press the button, you will jump. But if you've played Dark Souls, you'll be used to like the iframes on your rolls. You even have iframes on your jumps, which is kind of interesting. And of course, a big emphasis on aerial combat in these games.
Yeah, even if it's kind of physics defying, even within its own universe.
Buster. Everyone loves a Buster. And now this guy is going to explode, if I remember correctly.
You're doing a great number. My favorite boss, actually.
Yeah, he looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I think he looks the most demonic. My least favorite one was Snake Lady.
I think she's called Echidna, maybe? Something.
Yeah, Echidna. Mother of monsters, not Knuckles the Echidna. Completely different character. And most certainly not a mother.
Yeah.
I was really interested in watching Alex play this game, since I'm a huge sucker for well-designed characters and monsters and so on. Like, just from a visual perspective, since, okay, the bosses don't really get much of a backstory before you like slice them up. So it's interesting to get to see that without having to play it.
Yeah.
Because I knew I would struggle.
Yeah, some of the bosses and designs in this are really cool. Alright, so we're done with Nero now. We'll be back in momentarily. We're going to go swap over to Dante. Oh. Let me try that again.
Trying to make a cool exit.
I wanted to drop kick it. Oh well. And now we've swapped over to Dante, who plays very differently to Nero. And when you first get, like, especially if you've just started Devil May Cry and you go from Nero, he's not like easy to play, but compared to Dante, he's very easy to play. I'm saying Dante to just differentiate from Dante, like from DMC, but who cares how you pronounce it? But yeah, so the main difference between those two is Nero has like no styles. He has one style, and Dante has 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So he has different styles, which basically they give you different things. Like Trickster, it lets you dodge around and stuff. Swordmaster is like your basic, lets you do fancy stuff. Everyone likes Swordmaster. Royal Guard is perhaps one of the most interesting ones, as it gives you a block button, but you can't just like stand there like, oh, I'm going to block everything, because it will kind of, well, it just won't work, trust me. But if you do it like just before an enemy attacks you, then you get like a perfect block and you build your meter and stuff. And Gunslinger is just for like, yeah, doing like fancy gun stuff and all that.
And when you spam them all, he becomes Disco King Dante.
Yes. Everyone likes that one. And of course you also have another style which you get right at the end of the game, Dark Slayer, which you, if you like know Virgil, you'll recognise as his kind of stuff. Where he has all this fancy, like, oh, I'm nothing personal, kid teleports behind you stuff. That's pretty much what Virgil is. He's like nothing personal, the character. But I mean, you can't help but like Virgil because he's like so cool in a cliche kind of way. And this enemy, maybe I didn't pick the best place for this because this guy's a pain in the ass. Let's see, what was I using? I don't actually remember the right tactic even to fight this guy.
Even from your last playthrough?
Because I didn't like find out the right tactic, so I'm just using this kind of tactic of shotgunning him until his
lightning runs up?
Yeah.
Huh?
Oh, there we go.
It is kind of cool, but I think I made a mention of it when Alice was playing. I find it strange that it's yellow lightning instead of blue.
Yeah. Well,
and then later, well, now it's red.
Yeah, because he's all powered up and stuff.
Incidentally, he reminds me of Monster Hunter and
oh shit.
the Kirin enemy, which is, well, basically all lightning as well.
Yeah.
While still being like a smallish enemy.
Oops. You need very good timing for the Royal Guard stuff, which I do not have.
You actually finished him like quite quickly.
Compared to the last time, yeah.
Yeah,
I remember.
Well, the last two times, because
had a better tactic, but not a great tactic.
Yeah, not the optimal tactic. Right?
Yeah, you find some like normal enemies, but yeah. So with Dante, you have a lot of micromanagement, you could say, because you have to be juggling your styles and your weapons. Like you have 3 weapons on each side, like 3 melee weapons, 3 ranged weapons, and then like 5 styles. So it's a lot to sort of juggle around. But if you like stick at it and keep practicing, you can pull off some really amazing things. And I'll include like a few links in the video description of like some true style videos, because those show off what you can do in this game much better than I can. But I suppose we should talk a little about this version of the game, where you get, well, you get Devil May Cry 4 like as it was, with Mike's knocking over, and you get let's see, you get Virgil, Trish and Lady, who they're playable, but they don't really, how should we say, they don't really get to do all that much. Oh crap, these guys again. But yeah, so it's fairly cheap, so I guess you're, oh, these guys can be annoying. They're really cool though, because they do team attacks and stuff.
Yeah, personally, these might be my favorite design, apart from the last boss. I guess yeah, that's my favorite boss. I wasn't really counting him.
Yeah.
With like small things or
yeah.
small. What you were saying?
What was I saying even?
About Trish and Lady.
Oh yeah, so they get their own campaigns, but it's just the same campaign you get in the normal game, just with added like cutscenes at the end and beginning. But other than that, it won't really make too much sense, because you'll be doing stuff that you did as Nero, so it can be a bit confusing. And man, it's really hard to talk and play in this game.
So I guess it's added more as an extra, like,
oh, yeah,
yay,
like you get to play as them and they're fully featured, but their campaigns are not, which is kind of a shame.
I think Dante would be who I would have most trouble playing with because of all the juggling.
Yeah.
I can't say how Trish and Lady are. Like, what are their styles like?
Lady is kind of interesting because she only uses, yeah, like guns pretty much. Whereas with Trish is more kind of, she's almost like Devil May Cry 1 Dante, because she uses Spada, which was the weapon you get at the end of that. But she's a hard one to explain, and I haven't actually played it, so yeah, I've only seen footage, but... And Dante also has the most meters in this game.
Yeah, it's a bit confusing to look at.
Yeah.
The first time around, since you've got your life bar, and between the life bars you've got
the Pandora bar.
Yeah.
And then you have like the Royal Guard gauge and everything. But I didn't really get to show off much Dante stuff, but that's alright. I'll just use links to that, because I can't really play and talk at the same time with Dante, because he just has too much crap going on at the same time. Which is a shame, but I'll include some
extra clips?
Yeah, and some like links to other videos that show that off better. Now let's swap to Virgil.
You think you stand a chance?
And now we're back with Virgil. Probably, I think, the most powerful character, but depends on how good you are at the game, I suppose, but he's an interesting one. He obviously plays a lot like he did in Devil May Cry 3, but he has a new gimmick in that he has this concentration bar which you can see raising, and that will rise as you like fight enemies, as you walk around and stuff.
As opposed to running.
Yeah. So if I start running now, it will go down, and if I miss, it will go down as well. And these enemies are like the weakest ones in the game, so they don't do much good for showing off.
The only Virgil gameplay I've seen was when Alex was showing off some of his moves.
Yeah.
I've not seen him play with them, like, through the story.
Yeah. And his story is basically the whole thing, so it would be even weirder with Virgil because you would be going forwards through the game and then backwards through the game without any sort of real explanation why. So, yeah. And he only has one style, so I guess you could say he's kind of closer to Virgil, but, well, but yeah, he has like, where Dante has his style button and Nero has his buster, Virgil just has, like that. It's like sort of teleport thing. But here we go.
Since I don't really know much about his story, could you give me a like very short like recap of what he's done in the previous games?
Virgil's story is basically his he was unable to protect his mother as a child, which kind of traumatized him, I suppose, and led to him obsessively seeking power. So during like Devil May Cry 3, that's mostly his story, is that he wants greater power because he wants, I suppose in a way, to be able to protect things that he cares about. But he comes across as very kind of like asshole-ish because he's like your rival brother and stuff.
Oh, so is he an antagonist or just a rival character?
In 3, he starts off as like the main sort of villain in 3. Then he ends up as like a kind of a good guy, I suppose.
So he does have some like development.
Yeah. He's not really evil, he's just perhaps a bit misguided and stuff. And platforming, my favourite.
Yes, we all know how good you are at that.
Yeah, it's the best.
Some of the stuff I'm better at. Wish I could lend you my powers.
Your puzzle powers.
Yes. So in 4, does he have his own opening and ending cutscenes?
Mm-hmm.
Do they explain anything, or are they just
a little? So he dies in Devil May Cry 3, quote unquote. So that's spoilers. Then this is meant to be set before that. Like, so he's meant to be like, I don't know, like a teenager here or whatever, I suppose, like Dante was in 3. And this is like, for some reason he came to Fortuna, which is where Devil May Cry 4 is set. And they don't really explain why or anything, but I guess it's up to you to make your own sort of conclusions there.
You're going to have to include a trigger warning for that spoiler there.
Yeah. Nah, I think everyone probably knows by now. It'd be obvious even if it wasn't, but he plays quite interestingly, but of course, like everything in Devil May Cry, you need to actually be concentrating and like remembering what you're trying to do with your style and all that. Which, it's not the easiest game to show off whilst talking, but hey, it gives you a kind of basic idea of what's happening and all that.
So what sort of players is his style aimed towards? Like, is he more defensive or aggressive, or like more about the finesse?
I suppose finesse to some degree, but he's quite similar to Dante, really. Dante. And, oh yeah, I should show that attack, shouldn't I? Once I get somewhere with lots of enemies.
Which attack?
His, like... They've added some new attacks for him. For the most part, though, he plays very similar to how he did in 3. But the concentration thing is new, and as like a sort of added gimmick for his character. And I think it makes you do more damage, but I'm not entirely sure what it does. Like, that's a new attack he has. And that one... I can very rarely remember the actual, like, button combinations, because there's a lot of, like, back, forth, and square, like, back and square, blah, 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 and all that kind of good stuff.
And they seem to be kind of situational, like, if the enemy is up in the air, or if you're above, or if you're below.
Yeah, exactly. It's, but no, it's a fun game, like, to play a lot, so if you're the type of person who can play one game for like 100 hours, then you'll probably, you know, get a lot out of it, because it has a very, very high skill ceiling, this game.
Sadly, from what I've seen, I don't think it has too much replay value unless you really like just getting like the highest score, since all the secrets you find are more like just like, well, buying more stuff.
Yeah.
And well, you do get the outfits.
Yeah. The replay value, I suppose, comes from just, if you like the combat, there's loads of difficulties for you to go through, which they don't really add too much, but I mean, you know, it gives you something to do. And so once you have maximum concentration, you can enter your devil trigger and do a special attack, which is a new thing. Which some people were complaining about because it makes it like, oh, Devil May Cry is not about screen-filling super attacks that insta-kill all the enemies, but you know, you don't have to use it, which is the main thing. It's just there if you want to, like, look cool and stuff, and I'm not doing a very good job of making it look cool, but you can do some pretty good stuff in this game.
Yeah, and seeing how he's sort of an added bonus instead of, like, the main story character.
Yeah.
Then I don't think it really matters, because it's like, oh, you can do this as well.
Exactly, yeah.
It feels more like a reward than like a cheap gimmick.
Yeah. Like Dante, but he only has one, well, he has no guns, he just has summon swords that you can use to great effect, actually. And yeah, this cutscene is identical to Nero's one, they've just replaced it with Virgil's model, so he won't say anything.
The strange stubbly snake.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess you get the cutscenes, but there's no real point to them.
Yeah.
It would have been nice to have fully voiced and like maybe even more new cutscenes, but oh well. And it would have also been nice if we actually got a second half of the game that wasn't just going backwards, but again, the point of the game is mostly just the combat. So that's like the main thing. Like, if you like the combat, then you've got lots to keep you occupied here.
What I did enjoy is that even when coming back through the same areas, you were still introduced with new enemies.
Yeah, yeah. You still get the new enemies now and then.
Yeah, so it still keeps it sort of entertaining and with surprises. Because if it had just the same enemies, going from stronger to weaker.
Yeah, that would have been really weird, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, so he pretty much has his 3 weapons from Devil May Cry 3. Even though this is set before Devil May Cry 3, somehow he has the weapons that he got during Devil May Cry 3, so that's a bit kind of nonsense, but hey.
Well, since, again, it's more like a bonus instead of trying to make it canon.
That's true. He does have his same voice actor from 3, which is nice, because that was a good voice actor for Virgil, and I think everyone liked that voice actor. Who was actually also in Devil May Cry 4 as a different character, which is a bit interesting.
So, who is the other character?
Credo.
Oh, right.
Boss time.
Yes, monster lady with oddly short body.
Yeah.
What I do find interesting is how complex the model is. It's just...
Oops.
It's not just this form, or like hiding the animation, hiding the transformation with like a cutscene, because she can go from this form to like the snake form, and then the tail even like splits.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Oops.
Like it feels that they really put a lot of effort in them.
Yeah, they did, but perhaps they put too much effort in because it meant they weren't able to do everything they wanted with the game in the end, so...
Yeah, it could be that they just had limited time, because we all know that publishers and stuff, they like to harass the developers, so even if they had like ambitious goals, they might have just had to like make a compromise and like, okay, sorry, well, we'll just have to do this, sorry guys. But maybe that means that for like future games they have like already thought out assets and ideas.
And there are some parts I've noticed that don't really work so well with Virgil because they're made for other characters, like mechanics, like Nero or Dante and stuff. So, and sometimes he can be a bit overpowered because his dodge thing it's like a dodge and a teleport and a like long range thing, which I'm kind of demonstrating it here. You can just keep spamming it over and over and over.
Is he available from the start
of the game? Yeah.
Well, it would have made more sense if you unlocked him.
Yeah. Let's try this attack on her. Oh, or he's gonna do that. Oh, so it's not really that super powerful. Oh, okay, it's pretty powerful on bosses actually.
Wow.
You think you stand a chance?
Sephiroth fruit. And yeah, so I didn't really demonstrate all the fancy stuff you can do in combat, but again, that's not really something you can do whilst talking. It's not something I can do whilst talking. But yeah, it's the main story is about let's say 8 hours for your first playthrough if you've like never played it before, and then you can do it again with Trish. Trish and Lady have their own campaign. Virgil has his own campaign. Nero and Dante share a campaign. So, and it's a fairly cheap game. I think you can only get a boxed version if you're in Japan, but if you like action games, I'd say it's well worth it, as it's one of the better ones out there, even with the reused content and stuff. So
what sort of platforms is it like on?
PS4, Xbone, and I think it's coming to Steam as well.
Yeah, so it's not like on the older?
No, but you can like still buy Devil May Cry 4 on the old ones, but I mean, this one runs at 1080p 60, so the old one runs at 60 as well, but not... Graphically, it looks mostly the same. They've added a few new things like sun being god rays and all that sort of stuff, but you know, for the most part, it's not an amazing looking game, but it's not bad either.
It's not bad either. Yeah. Especially like the face animations have been good. Like, didn't you mention at least Dante's voice actor did like mocap
his
for
motion
the face
cap
as well.
Same with Nero as well.
Yeah.
That was like Johnny Young Bosch is Nero and Ruben Langdon is Dante, I believe.
Is it the same with the other characters? Trish,
I
Lady,
think
and...
so. Yeah? I think they might have actually replaced Lady's voice actor in this version. I don't think it's the same as it was in the original game, but I'm not sure. But hey, it's not a giant issue. She sounds relatively similar, but it's, well... Oh, and you get some new costumes and stuff, like, the one we had for Nero was one of his ones. There is a lot of, like, DLC stuff you can buy, like, you get red orbs that are like money, you get proud souls that are for upgrading your skills, and you can buy those with real world money. I don't really understand the point, as it... I mean, unless you want to have everything unlocked at the start of the game, there's not really much point doing that.
Well, it could be, if you're like me and terrible at maintaining a consistent high style score.
Yeah.
It is making it more accessible, and since it's not like pay to win, since there's no PvP.
Yeah.
I think it's just a good way for the company to like
Yeah.
get extra money, because that's what it all comes down to.
I don't really mind it in the end. I do think it's a bit strange, but... And I suppose it's also good, like, if you've played Devil May Cry 4 for hundreds of hours, as I have, sometimes you don't want to get all the skills again. You just, like, if you pay $2 or whatever, you can just get them all at the start, instead of having to do it all over again. Maybe we'll go have a look at that quickly, like, see how much the prices are. Because I'm pretty sure you can get, like, the super costumes, which... Super costumes kind of are pay to win, because they give you infinite devil trigger, which makes the game trivial. But again, it's not PvP, so it's not...
Yeah, it's just... well, it really does feel like a reward. Can you unlock those in-game?
The super costumes, I'm pretty sure you can. You could in the normal game, so yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you get...
Costume packs.
Yeah, so like the super one, that's like the only thing that would kind of give you a big advantage, because otherwise you would have to unlock it. This came with like pre-order, but it looks like you can buy it separately.
Oh.
Unlock all modes seems a bit pointless.
Oh, so you can't play as Trish's that in-game costume.
Yeah, her Gloria thing. That would be her alternate one, I guess.
Yeah.
And blue orbs give you like more health. Red orbs is money. Proud souls are skills. So I'm pretty sure 200,000 proud souls would be enough to buy every skill in the game. So if you don't want to, I mean, you'll get most of them if you beat... It'd probably take you a game and a half to unlock all the skills usually, I'd say. Unless, like, you're getting S ranks all the time, but...
So how many alternate costumes do Lady and Trish have?
I think... perhaps...
Can you view from here?
No, but it's,
Or can you see them in-game?
Not easily, no, because I've not got to Trish yet. But basically, you get... everything you get in Devil May Cry 4, then you also get, I think, 2 new costumes per character. Like, Nero has his alternate one, then he also has a palette swap, which was basically his normal outfit, but in different colours. Like, Dante had his Dante one.
Oh, with black hair.
Yeah, black hair and, like, blacker clothes and stuff. But, yeah, it's there to buy if you want. I wouldn't recommend it personally, but hey.
This has been sponsored by...
Yeah. No, I had to buy this game. Capcom were like, hey, Silver Mont, like, review our game and we'll give you $1 million.
That would be awesome, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would, but sadly, no.
Sadly, you still have to buy your own game.
Yeah. Oh well, that's been Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition. Kind of rambling and not too informative, but hey, it was a kind of fun thing to make. I've been Alex.
And I've been Nita.
Maybe we'll make something else like this for another game. Till then though, ciao.
Bye bye.